welcome to Stay Free with Russell Brand. We are live at Turning Point AmFest. We worked quite hard on that round of applause, and it's worked fantastically. I'm, of course, joined by Danica Patrick today. We're going to be talking. I'm also going to be taking questions from the live audience here prior to appearing at Turning Point, along with many people, some of your favorite Rumble contributors. If you want to join in, get involved in the comments and chat. If you're here at Turning Point, but not yet in our beloved audience, come over. And people in the audience will be asking questions live. Danica, thank you very much for joining me.
My pleasure.
Thanks for joining me on this white banquette.
It's all a lot of white.
Yeah.
It keeps it fresh.
Well,
Very
some
nice.
people would argue that Turning Point is a white supremacist organization. That's a joke. That's a joke. It's just a simple white leatherette banquette, probably not even real leather. Wherever you're watching us, click the link in the description, get on over to Rumble. If you're watching us on YouTube, you must remember the conditions that YouTube impose on content creators. Over the course of the next hour, I'll be taking your questions online, as well as dealing as best I can with the complexity of Danica Patrick, NASCAR driver, and a whole host of extraordinary other abilities. Already today, you've eaten eggs, steak, played tennis, submitted Thomas in a form of mixed martial arts. What are you doing here at Turning Point, mate?
Well, Turning Point's really where it all started for me a couple of years ago. I came and watched, and then last year I spoke for the first time, speaking again this weekend. So just to be in the energy, right? It's about the energy. It's like the community of the movement, of the purpose, and where we want to see this country go.
When are you speaking this time?
2:50 on Saturday.
What are you going to talk about?
Actually, this might hit home. I'm going to tell a story about a past life regression that I had.
You had a past life
But I think
regression?
I might. Does anybody know what that means? What do you know? Has anyone heard of a past life regression? Okay, so I will have to explain what that means.
I'm a bit jealous that a neighboring content creator just got that whoop. And you know, like if you're on a date with another couple and like the other couple maybe kiss and stuff, I think that we should generate more whooping noises and hysteria than them. So in the end, they're like, what's going on over there? It sounds amazing. So if you could just whoop hysterically for a moment, just while I tell you, if you subscribe to Rumble Premium, you get additional content from me and Glenn Greenwald and a whole host of others. That's really good. Every time we have a well-deserved applause from our audience here, there is sadly a little bit of feedback. I'm here with Danica Patrick. We're talking about past life. Oh, that thing, that mic cube. I'm not putting that back. I'm not doing it. I put it back once, and it's fallen again. I gave it all the I've given it all the chances I'm willing to give it, Jenna. Jenna's off. What are you doing? My one.
It's more important that you have the holder than me. You're far more important than I am.
I don't think that's true. You've been past life regressed. For all I know, you've been Boudica, Cleopatra. Maybe you could be another gender in another life. Dracula.
Definitely.
I don't know.
I had to have been a man in many other lives with the way that I roll through life.
Sometimes you're intimidating in this one.
I don't think I intimidate you, though, in any... Does anyone intimidate you?
Well, yeah, actually, sometimes. Like sometimes when I'm doing like a martial art and I have to fight people.
Oh, well, that's just your skills then. That has nothing to do with you. That's just skill.
Can I tell you something that happened to me, Danica, I didn't much enjoy very recently? I was at a party and I was like explaining to some people that I was playing American football, like just catching it. And I went, you know, obviously I'm English, so I'm not very good at American football. And then I thought, why are you lying? I'll tell them that I'm not good at English sports either, right? And she was like a friend's sister, this woman. And I goes, also, though, I'm not good at English sports. And she went, yeah, I can see that. And she said it much too assertively.
Way too matter-of-factly. That hurt.
Much too matter-of-factly.
That hurt.
In your past lives, Danica Patrick, tell us the very reason that you brought it up.
Why I brought it up and what
Yeah.
I'm going to... It was a lesson. The regression was a lesson about how to live your life. But in the regression, I was a Native American.
I'm just worried that this regressive therapy is diabolical devil worship. That's my only worry, Danica. That's my only concern. Anytime, can we
Well, I'm in a good place for people to pray for me.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Danica, before this ends, we will pray for you. Can we just establish a rule now that anytime there's any cheering over there, we automatically cheer back in a very almost hysterical way? So let's do one more now, please. And then go, turning point! And then I just wonder if we start to shout confusing things like soteriology, the afterlife, eschatology, ideas of resurrection. Danica Patrick has been regressed to a past life. Very long sentences. Could be brilliant. Okay, so you did it and it was instructive, was it?
Yeah, it was a good lesson. Yeah,
Good,
that's
well
it.
done.
That's the spirit.
That's the stuff. Yeah, that is what we need. Okay, Danica, it was instructive. I did once have regressive past life therapy, but I recognized during it that all of the past lives that I remembered, there were reliable references in films. Like, I remembered things like, I was in the Patriot. I'm General Cornwallis. I'm organising the Green Dragoons. There's a recalcitrant brigade of upstart colonialists opposing the authority of King George III. You know, so like I was using references that were available in film. Now, was your past life, you weren't Pocahontas or someone that, where you could have got the references from mixed media?
No, I was just an average old Native American that split off from her tribe and had a stick.
Have you ever in real life split off from your tribe? Like in,
I kind of feel like I've been my own tribe most of my life. So
what do you mean? You sort of, is this look all right, this hat?
That looks great. In fact, I think that levels you up 20x now instead of 10x.
Thank you, Danica.
Instead 10x looking. I think the white is 20x. Yeah.
You are a sort of an outsider, even just being like a female NASCAR driver.
Yeah.
So I've never met one before. Now, do you think you, a woman, could beat me, a man, in a driving contest?
God, there's so many sayings that come to mind, but they include swearing. Definitely, Russell. I really definitely think that's possible.
And probably...
I would actually be happy. Would you guys want to see that? Would you want to see us race?
Good. Yes, good.
That was a natural one. I didn't even have to bait them for that.
Yeah, you're good at it. You're actually pretty good. I think your talk's going to be good. You're not going to...
I actually think it would be an absolute... We could definitely race around the block. I did this commercial a long time ago for Lyft. And this was when Lyft just started. And I was in Charlotte. And I was racing NASCAR. And we had someone hop in. We had many people hop in. They did not know they were in a commercial, although there was a bunch of cameras, so they had to have been on to something. But I got to drive around downtown Charlotte like however I wanted, and it was really funny. It's a very funny video if you guys want to look at some sort of like behind the scenes sort of commercials.
Did you jeopardize anybody's safety?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I jeopardize my own safety every time I'm in the car. Just ask anybody that rides with me.
And the skills transfer, you can use it in life and in the streets. You can just drive in a...
Yes. I always say that I have a really big comfort zone on the road. So like 80 or 90. Does anyone think that the 101 here in Scottsdale is the fastest highway in the world? Woo! I mean, it's like, no, they don't live here. See, they don't live here. I mean, I drive 90 on the highway. That's very easy for me compared to the 240 that I've driven. So my comfort zone's very, very big.
You've expanded yourself a massive
Plus, I drive
comfort zone.
Plus, I drive a Lamborghini. So
honestly,
I do.
You drive around in a Lamborghini at 90 mile an hour. You operate as a Lyft driver. You take people to the very precipice of death, which a lot of Uber drivers do anyway. That's not even a massive transformation. Danica,
I very much resent these Waymos driving around.
Oh man, you've already, I think, transgressed against Christian principles with your devil worship past life regression.
Exactly.
But I would say those AI Google vehicles, I think they are terrifying, aren't they? Spooky sepulchres, living coffins, sanitized. I see them driving around. Have you been in one, mate?
I have not, actually, but they cause traffic jams because they get confused because they're not a human.
They're very, very confused. There's no one in there. The steering wheel does actually move, even though what's that doing? I suppose in case it needs a manual driver at some point. I think it's wrong. I think it's deplorable, and I think it should be stopped out.
Do you guys remember Total Recall, the movie?
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I feel like we're entering Total Recall sort of phase of culture.
We're in a terrifying moment, and why don't we broaden out this discussion, Danica Patrick, to include some of our enthusiastic viewers? Would you like to ask questions Please. I'm not very good at getting people to go, woo. It's not in my nature. It's like not a British thing to do. We're embarrassed of that. Someone is going to ask questions. A young gentleman, sir. Would you mind telling us your name, as well as the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you, and then ask your question?
My name's Trevor Dasher. The most embarrassing thing that happened to me was in Wisconsin. I was walking to class on campus, and I slipped and fell, and people laughed at me.
That's unfair.
That's
You didn't
it.
deserve
You've
that.
lived
You're
a really
lovely.
charmed life.
Yeah. So I'm one of the youngest elected officials in the state of Wisconsin. I was elected to my school board when still a senior in high school. What advice do you guys have for the younger generation to get involved in politics and make sure that their voices are being heard?
Go on, Danica. You be in charge.
Well, it's a tough one for me because people keep asking me when I'm going to get involved in politics or run for anything. And I guess that leads to my answer, which is I just got asked today if I would run for something. I said, if I felt like I should, like I was needed, and if you're needed for a job and you can do it and people are reflecting to you that you're capable, then it'll end up feeling like a calling because it'll be about serving your community. And so backwards all the way to the beginning of when campaigning happened, it was explained to me that, you run for office locally to support your local community. So I'd say start local. And if it feels like a calling because people keep wanting you to do it, then do it. If not, there's plenty of other ways to help the community than being in politics exactly.
I really like Danica's answer. I think it's pretty satisfactory. Do you? Let's go on a spontaneous, very British round of applause. I've got nothing to add to that. Also, I'm still enraptured with the image of you sprawled on the floor in Wisconsin. I never really got past that.
Can I ask you a question then about that? Did you say it was icy? Was it winter? Was it slippery?
When he slipped.
This was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
There's no
That
excuse for
actually is
that.
terrible. So it wasn't slippery yet.
You've
No,
got
it
no
was-
business in
it's-
politics.
It's 33 degrees in Wisconsin, but 2 weeks ago it was like
Oh.
7. It's just kind of cold.
I was born in Wisconsin, and I'm glad that was all, because it's very cold there now.
Yeah.
I
It
can't
was,
imagine.
it was 80 degrees here a couple days ago.
I know. That's why I came here to get away from it. Can I get a
Glad to
picture
have
with you
you.
guys?
What do you mean? Here, like during it, come right over. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. That'd be interesting. While that's happening, why don't we do the next question? Hello, you handsome young lunatic. Perch yourself down here. Take the picture. Brianna's going to do that. You're a fine young fella. Bedtime stories. Look at that. He's left with a lovely compliment. What a sweet young man. The next question is from a similarly beautiful near adolescent, a tousle-haired wonder boy whose name will soon follow. Hello, young man. What's your name, mate?
Hi, I'm Baxter Richardson. And
Hi, Baxter.
Yeah, hi, what's up? So I started like a TPUSA chapter at my high school, and I was wondering if you guys would come and speak at it. That was my big question.
That's good. Hustler.
You answer this one.
Danica, you're good. I'd like to give you a strong, hard yes. I will appear at this, but when is it and what do you have to do?
I don't know, whenever you can make it would be awesome.
What do I have to do? As just at a high school?
Yeah, just talk to the kids, yeah.
Just be at a
whatever
high
you wanna talk
school,
about.
talk to the kids?
Yeah, whatever you wanna talk about.
Where is it?
It's in Coronado, California. Right by
In
the beach.
California?
Yeah, on the beach, yeah.
I cannot go to that state until Gavin Newsom apologizes to me.
Really?
Well, possibly. I am going to probably come to California soon.
Okay.
And if I do, Baxter, I will go there. Now, what are you doing in your Turning Point chapter? What's going on there?
So we're really focused on just open political discourse and talking about politics, really, and expressing conservative ideas.
Express it in a sort of the way that Turning Point does. Is there a camera on our young, handsome people? There is. That one's on him. Oh, I see. If you're watching this on anywhere other than Rumble or Rumble Premium, get Rumble now. And if you get Rumble Premium, you don't only get additional content from me, but you get it from Stephen Crowder and Tim Pool, a whole host of people. Also, if you get Rumble Premium now, you're allowed to stay 1 week in Baxter's home. Baxter will look after you.
Yeah, I got 6. I'm 1 of 6, so it's pretty tight.
It's busy there. There's a lot of children. Like, you got 5 siblings.
Yeah, I have 5 younger brothers.
You're just the testosterone-filled household.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, I would have restricted Wi-Fi if I was your father. 6 boys, 1 house. None of you are using the internet. Till you're 30. That's what, Baxter, we've answered your question. I've essentially agreed to a soon-to-become regrettable high school appearance. I'll do it. Danica, You avoided that very deftly. You did follow-up questions with the lad that fell over in Wisconsin. What was the temperature? What day was it? What were you wearing? Baxter, you're cutting him off.
I don't have a question because I already know there's not room for me to stay, and it's a house full of boys, and you guys don't put the toilet seat down, so there's just like no chance that I'm gonna be there for that. And to just the overall smell of the house, probably.
Partial credit, Baxter. Partial credit. Okay. I'm going to appear at your school, and you've been insulted by a great sportswoman.
Yeah.
I'd call it overall
I
victory.
will drive you, though.
Oh, imagine. She wins it back. You should be a politician. Look at the way she moves. She changes the rules. No one knows what's going on. She could run the whole country easily. All right, Baxter, we'll come see you.
The speed limits would not be what they are then.
Well, darling?
I mean, the first thing I do is raise the speed limits. Sure.
You can't just use your political power to exploit the opportunity to gain revenue. No, that is what people do. No, that is what you're supposed to do. Sorry, it was me. I was wrong with that.
So, like,
Baxter,
how do I contact you to like set up a time?
I don't want to do the admin on Rumble. We're streaming to potentially hundreds of people. I do not want to offend the viewers. Baxter, talk to either Brianna or Jake or Jenna or not Claudio. He's too high up. He's got too much executive authority. Yeah, young lady, let's do your question now. And please don't turn it into a scheduled appointment that will have logistical challenges, unless it's for Danica, in which case, by all means.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, nice to meet you guys. My name is Lexi. My question for you is, do you think people miss the mark by letting fighting evil in politics overshadow the way that Jesus calls us to treat people? And if that's the case, how do we stay bold in truth without losing Christ-like love?
Well, that's pretty amazing. What's your name?
My name's Lexi.
Oh, yeah, you said that right at the beginning. I couldn't even remember the name. How am I going to answer that complex theological question? Danica, you start,
my first?
then I'm going to jump in. Do we in politics talk enough about Christ? Do we keep our eyes on him enough? Or do we get infatuated by evil? That's your question, isn't it, Lexi?
Yeah, and just how do we make sure that we are still loving people and being Christ-like by still fighting for truth and righteousness?
Well, how are you describing the fighting? How are you describing the fighting?
Just in how we interact with people and just kind of where our hearts are when we are interacting with those people.
I think that you just live the way you want other people to act, right? So you don't have to fight. You just have to live by example. You know, I think that's what life's all about. That's what you do. Holy, this is a liability.
Sir, I nearly fell. Thank God, Danica, your speed and your instincts as a stock car driver. With a lesser guest, I would have died there. But she turned. She took the corner. Imagine it had been that poor. Look, she's still solving the problem. You're amazing.
He almost fell off the edge.
No, man, I live on the edge. The edge is where I live, baby. Hey, like, if that had been a normal guest, I'd have been down in a ditch there, wouldn't I?
This is me living that kind, loving, like life, right? You lend a hand, step up, hold you back. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to fight with people, right? I don't think that it's about the fight. It's about being the role model. It's what parents do for children, right? It's what we do. It's what we do for the world, right? Just live by example. I don't think it's about the fight. I think the fight is what it feels like happens when someone doesn't agree with you. Yeah. But that's not your fight. That's just you living your truth.
In some ways, Lexi, I agree with Danica, but I'm minded of the mystical aspect of coming to Christ and a new kingdom and emerging. What I feel is in some ways, if we were to follow the edicts of a thinker like, say, C.S. Lewis, we would just be practicing Christian principles in our individual roles as citizens and civilians. But I'm struck by a recent video I saw Charlie Kirk say, God rest his eternal soul, when he talked about the American Constitution being achieved in alliance with Christian ideas and presumptively practiced by a Christian nation. And I've been thinking about that, and I'm probably going to, I'm talking later. Danica's talking at 2:30 tomorrow. I'm talking later. And I think I want to talk about that idea because how do we bring the principles of Christ into government? Now, I read in N.T. Wright, a British theologian's recent talk on what is a Christian country. He said that Paul's continual exhortations for mutual forgiveness and kindness and grace were not just miscellaneous ethical pledges, but what was required to bring together a multi-ethnic Christian community in the first century, at a time of a great deal of division and confusion. And I suppose the things that suggest themselves to me have already been touched upon by our great, marvelous, and incredibly rapid moving guest here. The idea of local subsidiarity. I indeed think that young men like our first questioner, not Baxter, he's clearly some sort of pervert, but young men in general, just needlessly slander Baxter for a laugh. Just did that to pass the time. Like that we should be involved in local politics wherever possible. The real problem is centralization, both in commerce, global bureaucracy, but even in national government in a country like yours. To practice the principles of Christ, you have to love thy neighbor. If you can't love thy neighbor as yourself up until the point of death because you don't know who your neighbor is, and you're continually bombarded with cultural imagery that suggests endless fragmentation and opposition, you cannot be Christ-like. That shares more with Babylon, with Babel, with the fall than with the principles of our Lord. So you have to become radical. Initially, perhaps a kind of radical moderate, refusing to turn against your brother or sister. To become radically Christ-like, we all know what it ultimately means, because not only are we, by God's grace, followers of Christ Jesus, but we have a very local example in someone that was willing to die for what they believed in. And what I believe in now is maximal subsidiarity and maximum empowerment of the individual, the family, and the community under God, under Christ-like principles. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments and chat. If you're watching this anywhere other than Rumble, then click the link in the description, go over to Rumble and Rumble Premium. Send your questions and we'll answer them if we can. Lexi, are you happy with that?
I am. Thank you
I
guys
have
so much.
one more thing to add. That was spectacular. I
Thanks,
understood
and I'm enjoying the prod as
some
well.
of it.
I'm getting a
Getting
honourable
passionate.
prod. Whoa.
I don't know
Now we're
what that is.
talking.
One thing I thought about is just, being able to be confident enough to say what you want, act how you want, be how you want. 'Cause maybe some of what you're saying is about stepping outside of the norm. And I think that whenever you have enough belief, self-belief, integrity in what that is, and it's for a good cause and in love and kindness, it's going to come off right. But you have to make sure that you practice what you preach. And if you want people to accept you, if it's something outside of the norm for them, you have to accept others for being outside of the norm of what's normal too. So it has to be a back and forth of acceptance. But it's about being confident about what it is that you believe. And then I think it's going to always come across right.
Yeah.
I like
That's
Danica
amazing.
Patrick and her answers to complex theological and moral questions. Are you happy, Lexi?
And thank you guys so much. I couldn't agree more. It's the way that we treat our, one-on-one interactions with the people in our communities. So it starts there. So thank you guys.
Thanks, mate. And do we have any further questions? If so, please march them stoutly to the round of applause organically occurring there. The atmosphere here at Turning Point in the Stadium in Phoenix visibly becoming more febrile and alive with joy. One imagines that there could be spontaneous nude dancing a la David. He did that apparently, so at any moment. Don't feel obliged, madam. Now, what is your question?
Actually, I don't have a question.
Just an announcement. And what's your name and what
My name
your
is
business?
Janice. I'm from Phoenix, and I've only met one person, well, two now from Phoenix, many others from other places, but nonetheless, when I saw that you were on the agenda, and then once touring around here, and then seeing that I might have the opportunity to say something to you, I got so excited because I knew it was God.
The Lord.
First off, I learned this last year that you became a follower of Christ. So welcome, brother.
Thank you.
But then,
She gets organically. Oh, she's pretty good. I can hear her better.
but
Thanks,
then
Jesus.
secondly, is this in probably about a month or two ago at exercise, a new person came. And as I was chatting with her, I must have asked something that said to her that she then mentioned, I became a Christian. I asked how that happened. She said that she went to a political event, and then somewhere along the way, there was this guy by the name of Russel Brand
I live in that guy.
who got down
I
on
live
his
inside of him.
knees.
That's who I am.
And because of that, she actually became a Christian.
Oh man, that's
So
such a
what is
beautiful story.
wonderful about that? Thirdly, I found out she is a Jew who became a Messianic Jew, and on her Bible she has written down September 4th, 2025. So forever, you will have made an impact in her life. And when I tell her that I got to share that with you, she'll be blessed too. So bless
Thank you so much. Thank
Russell
you.
Brand, everybody.
I'm actually
Russell
very happy
Brand,
about that.
everybody.
That's very. Thank you for giving me that encouragement, because I must say sometimes I feel afraid in the world and inferior. And then I remember that my personal identity is irrelevant. It's who loves me that is important, not who I am. My identity is no longer in the world. It does sometimes get magnetized back into it, sometimes via flesh or temptation, sometimes via fear. But in general now, I feel him very strongly. He is outside time, within time, across all time. I feel our Lord present now. It is our duty, our honor to glorify him. And there can be no politics without a set of agreed upon ethics. There can be no set of agreed upon ethics without a God. God is real. Jesus Christ was the risen Son of the living God. I proclaim him now, and later you will see me bend the knee as well as making any necessary declarations.
One thing that I will have to do is, because I don't know, I really didn't know who you were before this. Okay?
Darling, some days I don't know who I am.
But now I do know, but I also want to find out how you accepted Christ. So on that, I will Google you.
You can use the internet.
I
I'm assuming that's what you meant by Google you.
Yes.
Otherwise, this will become a police matter.
So thank you. Bless you.
I love you for saying that. Thank you very much for those kind words. The very minimum you should have is a baseball cap. Like, the minimum. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, you're English.
Yeah. I
God
just
save the Queen.
God save the Queen. The King's not my king.
I
I'd
feel
just
you,
like
baby.
to say I am part of the largest growing political party in the UK right now, called Advance UK.
I like how you talk for a start. See the accent? Can you tell the accent?
I
She's
actually
proper.
like to
Proper.
try and figure out where
Kent or Essex or East London. Where you from, mate?
East
sounds
London.
London.
Yeah.
East London?
East London. Not anywhere in London. East London's the proper place.
Whereabouts in East London?
Stepney.
Stepney. She's proper, mate. That's proper.
So, being part of the largest political party in the UK right now, Advance UK, and our fundamental core is bringing the country back to Christianity. That is part of our constitution. As a potential MP in the future, what would you like to see someone like myself bring into a political party and enforce
Go
in
on,
the
you
UK?
do it, Danica.
Wow, I'm not qualified to talk about.
Danica, no
but
one's
I will
qualified
say
to
that
talk about anything. Let's just have some fun.
I am glad to hear this, though. I mean, from what I feel, is it accurate to say that the UK, England is pretty liberal?
If I could just cut in there, I got arrested for unfurling the British flag and put in police custody for 24 hours.
Quite
and
right.
I was
You
beaten
should
up
be
by
in
3
prison.
police officers.
Danica could be jailed. You cannot go around
Oh, when I
in a
lived there,
country
I'm correct.
unfurling its flag. Whatever next? Saying what's on your mind? Yeah, go on, mate. They banged you up, did they, for unfurling the old Union Jack?
Yeah, I got beat up by 3 police officers.
Got anything on video?
I have, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm suing the police force at the moment.
Met, is it, if you're in Stepney?
No, so we was protesting in Essex outside the Bell Hotel. I'm part of the Pink Lady movement that's spreading across the UK right now as well. And it's about protecting women and children's safety in the UK.
I like it.
So I was there protecting women and children, and then I unfurled the flag and got roughed up.
You're proper, you. Am I not correct in saying that the Pink Ladies are the girlfriends of John Travolta in the film Grease and the film Grease 2? The Pink Ladies include Sandy D and many other characters. That is it.
That's
they are
it,
called the
that's
Pink
it.
Ladies.
Yeah.
Don't look at me like I'm mentally ill. I've memorised your culture.
So I went to Whitechapel because in Tower Hamlets, they tried to deem the Pink Ladies as a far-right racist movement. So I stood outside the back of Whitechapel Hospital in my underwear and sprayed myself pink and then walked through holding the Union flag. And as you know, Whitechapel is a probably 90% Muslim culture. So...
What's your name, mate?
Sarah.
Sarah. And did you grow up in Stepney?
For a bit, and then I moved out.
Nice.
Yeah.
So listen. So what, Danica? What we're talking about is Are you saying that you're you're part of a Christian party? What
Yes.
is your question specifically about how to bring those values into Parliament?
Yeah, well, no, what else would you like? Because our constitution is based around the Christian faith. But what else would you like to see other than that instilled into the United Kingdom?
All right, mate. Well, I reckon it's bold. The experiment of secularism hasn't worked. The church has to be at the core of community life.
Yeah.
A nation state can be a community of different principalities, kingdoms, communities, whatever you want to call them, but you can't have external bureaucracies as the supreme power. It tends towards it becomes diabolical. It becomes Luciferian. I think the problem that we're living with, Sarah, right now is that when you have counterfeit systems of power that emulate the power of God, i.e. the government wants you dependent on them for information, the time is coming where they'll want you dependent on them financially.
Yeah.
They want you to come to them as little children. They want you to be innocent in your approach to them. They demand fealty. I would say that it's the state itself that has to be opposed. Minimize wherever possible the influence and power of the state. So you'd becoming an MP to maximally empower the community, to make sure people are affected by decisions that are as close to them as possible. And I would continue that principle of subsidiarity further. Where possible, communities should eat food grown or reared locally. They should be in control of their local budgets. They should discuss these things openly. I'm not saying you don't have leadership at the national level when it comes to vital transport infrastructure, hospitals, or of course, the international defence. But those things are bureaucratised and depend on alliances that go beyond national sovereignty anyway in many cases. So, mate, you're doing a good, strong thing. What it needs above all else is the prima materia, the primary material of the boldness of the people of a nation to stand up and be willing to do what you have done. I mean, not necessarily specifically paint yourself pink in underwear, though I like your style, like your John Lyle, as they'd say in East London. Nice moves, got to admire it. But I would say continue doing what you're doing and watch the resistance, because the evil one is in charge of this world. It says it in scripture numerous times. The tempter says it to our Lord. Paul says it in Ephesians. John says it throughout Revelations and in some of his epistles. So in response to the earlier question to Lexi, we don't go far enough as Christians in condemning the evil of this world, but I think we focus a little too much on localized evil rather than global, imperial, bureaucratic evil. Note that C.S. Lewis, in his Screwtape Letters, depicts the realm of the demons as a bureaucracy. It's through bureaucracy that they bring us down, and it is through community that you and all of us will oppose them. Praise the Lord. You're watching Russell Brand Stay Free on Rumble
Lovely,
Premium. If you're not a
thank you.
subscriber yet, subscribe now. I'm talking to Danica Parker, who is a risk taker, but also a lifesaver. There was a moment where I nearly... Go on, mate. Yeah, I'll talk to you later, Sarah. I nearly tumbled off the back of the banquette, and that's why I'm calling this a banquette. That's the proper word. It's French sounding.
I learned a new word.
Banquette. I nearly tumbled off the back of it. Luckily, you stepped in, mate. You were a
You almost
hero.
rumbled off.
Very nearly. I could have been very, very... Have you had bad crashes in your car then? You must have.
Yes, many bad crashes.
When you're doing races?
No broken bones, but broken ego.
Yeah, the ego's in shatters, but he's got to break. He's got to... Cheer. Don't let him...
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Well done, everyone. Yeah. Have you ever... What's your favourite film? Is it Days of Thunder? Is it one of them Steve McQueen one? Is it Days of Thunder?
Days of Thunder, all the way.
It's a good film.
Control is an illusion.
Whoa.
Nicole Kidman, really.
Control's an illusion? Oh, no. How are we going to get to work in the morning? I like Days of Thunder as well. Ma'am, you have a question as well as something adorable about you. What is your name and what's your question?
My name is Teresa. I'm from Oklahoma, so not as good an accent.
That's a lovely accent. I've been to your state.
Wonderful. Big fan. great bake-off performance. But my question is regarding education, because you talk a lot about community and faith. What role do you feel like faith needs to play in education as far as for younger kids, but also in higher education?
Danica. Danica.
I think that I believe in the power of choice, but I think that when you show them a good life, living a good life, you're happy. I think people want to emulate it. People want the same thing that you have. We're all just looking to find ways to be connected and be happy. And sort of based on your last answer, it's the community that you build. When you build that community, then you build the movement, and it happens from the inside out. You can't expect the government to do it for you. It starts in your house, it starts in your church, or it starts in your community, your town, your village. And I think that that's what makes it spread. And it's about the lifestyle, right? That's so building that lifestyle where you're having fun, you're building your families, you're enjoying things, you're helping each other, your community is there for you when you need them. That's, I think, what builds a movement.
Thanks.
Shall I answer as well?
Yeah, you're better at
Children
it.
at school and getting faith in there. I've got kids right round my house. They're mine. Oh, temporarily they're mine. I kidnap. No, they're my children. I don't know why I keep doing these kind of jokes. With my own children, I'm trying to instill in them that the supreme authority in their life is Christ and that they have direct access to Christ. I'm adding a little bit. I'm in charge of whether or not you're on that iPad and whether or not you should stop being such, and I'm going to have to swear now, little bastards. But other than that, you have a direct relationship with Christ. He is within you. Don't bend or yield to any other authority. Reject worldly authority. But then they've got to be in the world. It's tricky. So we don't have our kids go to school because in case they get indoctrinated into systems of control and potentially evil. So we're indoctrinating them around our house. But like I'm saying, I told them very early in their lives, don't trust any authority. And frankly, that has led to some problems because then they won't go to bed when I tell them. But other than that, it's been a foolproof model for preparing, because I went with the Lord when they were born, except for my boy Herbie. So I think you just have to tell them that they have direct contact with Christ, that it's about denial of the world, denial of the flesh, then some pretty simple values, Pauline values that we just espoused just then, that are necessary if you're going to live in a community. As N.T. Wright said, they ain't just a random bunch of ideas. They're ideas that create cohesion and love between groups. Hey, is that good enough?
Yes. Could I trade you hats?
Take it. Come here. Move into the house. Live with us. Let's see how it goes. Praise the Lord. I love you. Thanks. I got my own hat now. Hey, how long have I been talking for? Because I'm quite hungry. Got 10 more minutes. Can we go for an ad break? Can I have a sandwich? Is there anything I could eat round here? Hello there. And now, Danica, you feeling okay?
I might have something in my purse.
What do you mean?
I'm a
What do you
woman.
carry
I
for
might
Thomas?
have something.
Does Thomas freak out sometimes? What does he got? What have you got in there? Some sort of protein bar?
Maybe
bet you got a handgun. Have
maybe
you
a
got a
chomped
handgun?
beef stick, maybe a protein bar,
I've never had a beef stick before. I'm nervous about that.
chapstick. I eat my chapstick.
I'll eat a chapstick if that's what it comes down to. If that's the price I have to pay for mental clarity and cohesion. This gentleman's here. Should we ask his question?
I would love it.
Me and you, we could do a show.
I'll just be the serious one, which is never the case, but I love this role for me.
You did. Mostly when you saved me from falling down that hole, something in me bonded to you.
Well, when you go through trials, tribulations, strife, challenges, dangerous, life-threatening moments,
Like that?
life-threatening moments,
Life-threatening, that was.
you definitely bond.
I think when I see you over the years, I'll always go, remember? Remember the... Sir, you have a question for us. What is your name, if you don't mind
yes,
us
sir.
telling us?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. I just wanted to say thank you very much. I do have a question, but as somebody that was a bit wayward.
You were wayward.
Before and after the military, yes, sir. I got to say that the wayward guys like myself that do go back to Christ and, try to slough off the old life, we look at you like you're a saint, a of the wayward, right?
That's all I've ever wanted. A saint of the wayward. The people
Yeah.
I work with are going to have to deal with that now. You're canonizing me live on Rumble. Saint
I
old
don't want
Russ.
to do that.
I can do pretty much what I like now, I would have thought.
Only Christ is the true.
Yeah. Jesus,
But-
all power to the glorious Holy One, the true Son of God, the risen one.
Amen.
But then, saints.
There are.
Oh, Russ.
And I'm giving you that title, and I hope that you also get the knighthood that you deserve now that we have new management and old management, but reshuffling in
We're planning
England.
a revolution in the UK, and once that's done, I'm sure I will be knighted within the first week or two.
You know, I was going to be on American Got Talent, right? And
What was your talent going to be?
impressions, but
Dude,
anyway.
some
Oh,
impressions
come
now,
on.
innit, Danica?
You've got to have a Trump one in your back pocket. You're here.
The reason that I didn't get past the audition is because I'm terrified of cameras. So it just didn't work
darling.
Well, there's 3 on us and 1 on you. That's not a big deal.
What if you are able to put a blanket over your head during the impression?
What if you put the hat on real low?
out. All right, let me think back to when I did it. I did the audition. They didn't like it.
I'm furious.
All right, so I didn't bring my ukulele, but there's a whole
Ukulele
bit.
was
That's not-
holding you back.
Yeah.
Do an impersonation that is ukulele free. Who
All
are you
right.
doing an impression of with a ukulele?
I'm gonna
Elvis in 1 or 2 of his movies. Like, there's no one has a ukulele anymore.
I'm gonna just do the judges after they saw my terrible act. That I can do. Listen, kiddo, that was absolutely horrendous. I mean, you can't sing, you can't dance.
Is that Simon Cowell? Simon Cowell.
That's what I'm
Hold
painting.
on, let me. I don't know, Simon. I kind of liked it. I mean, he's a bit odd looking, and he sounds like a bag of cats, but I liked it. Cheryl. Well, Seaman, listen, Cheryl, it's Simon, so you're off the show again. Goodbye.
What I really hope is that people have just, at this moment, tuned in and they're watching and people going, what now? What's he doing now? People, there's a gentleman on a red rug communicating with himself. But he did canonize me, so he gets another 25 minutes.
I'm going to canonize on a human level, you know, as the saints are very important people. I think that you earned your sainthood and knighthood. You got to have the
I'm
funny.
just taking the sainthood.
You
The
got-
knighthood, that's slowing me down, corrupting. But the sainthood, I'm working towards that, although I do have noticed the theme with saints, and that theme is brutal, terrifying, awful deaths. That is a theme.
Yes. So you don't want
Okay.
that. Yeah.
You got
What
to die sometime.
I think it was 11 of the 12, and then you got John that saw Revel.
Patmos might still be there for all we know. Might
He
still
got
be there.
off pretty easy, that one. And he got to write
Although
the...
I have been on holidays in Greece, and sometimes the plumbing's not good. But better than being crucified upside down and left under the Vatican, I suppose.
I'm so sorry to do this to you. Could
I
I,
love
just get
you.
the
What do you
last
want? Come
impression
over.
and just the last, because it's kind of like when you're going to sneeze
Sir,
and,
you're
and
a
you
vet.
just don't
Whatever
get
you need, we'll
Okay.
do it.
God bless you.
Within reason, and maybe even slightly beyond reason. Innit,
James
Danica? I've been
Spader.
safe since you've been here.
I'm
You're a
not.
good
I'm
fighter.
not. I'm
James
just.
Spader.
I'm so
He knows
distracted
if he's
waiting for this
anymore.
final. The stage is yours.
Dude,
Okay. My wife's going to see this and say,
That's not
"How
it.
did
That's
you
not it.
spend your
That's
first
not a good
5
impression."
minutes arriving here? I was just on some other show.
No, you're not doing it. You wanted
I'm
the
not good
stage
at
for
this.
your impression, but you're not doing
it's
it.
interesting. Who
Oh,
knows
the-
what he's
the
going to do
James
next?
Spader? Well, I liked
Why
him
James
on The Office.
Spader?
James Spader?
That's a really unusual choice.
So they're judging me, right, for my horrible ukulele
Stop,
playing.
you're judging yourself.
Of course, but I practice the judges because I figure they're going to not like my
being
act.
very patient,
So I
Danica.
got to learn all of their
You're a good
accents and
person.
such.
I like being touched.
Because that would have been like the act, you know, just kind
bit
of
shoulder.
poking fun at them. And then I thought, well, Simon Cowell should definitely be knighted because he's funny, but you're funnier.
Look,
and
if you're
you've
starting to
actually
knight
been...
Simon Cowell, you're undermining my sainthood.
No, I don't want to do
Now,
that.
are you gonna do
I
any
don't
more
even know what the
impressions?
hell I'm talking about, really. I just came up here to say hello.
I like it. I love you. Come and sit
Yeah.
down here for the rest of the show. Don't cause any more trouble. Please remove your trousers before you sit down. Now, are there any more questions? Sit down. You're lovely. What's your name again? What were you in the military? What were you in the military? You're in charge now. But I gotta say, talk on the mic. No wonder you didn't get past Britain's Got Talent or whatever it was. You won't pay attention. No, it's live. You can't edit at all. It's live streamed. Danica, well, I think let's take one more question. Madam, you just sit there quietly. He's all right. What's your, thank you, sir. Thank you for checking in. Thanks for having our safety at the forefront of your mind. God bless you. What's your question, ma'am?
So my question to you is, a little over a year ago, my husband and I drove across country. We live in California, Northern California. And we drove across country with a lot of other people's money and things that they had donated to help people in the hurricane area of North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
And what we found is that we were all more alike than we were different. And
That's good.
It's wonderful. But my question to you, Russell, is that being of the celebrity world and the Hollywood world, and do you feel like there's a lot more out there that are like, that maybe don't speak up, that are more godly, that maybe aren't taking that stand like you?
I'm not taking a stand. I'm actually broken. But what I will say is that...
But you proclaim.
I proclaim, yeah.
Yes.
We've no choice but to do that. But like, what I would say, Danica, is that it's your nature. We are made in his image. We are made to worship him. It's a matter of discovery. It's not a matter of education. And everyone knows it, really. They'll discover it. But the culture is bewitching and bewildering. The world is not your friend. The culture is not your friend. It's designed to distract you. I'm becoming a little bit hardline. You know, I don't want to ruin everyone's fun and become all like puritanical or everything. But, you know, there was a time where to have a good evening, I had to smoke crack and have sex with a bunch of people. That was... What are you nodding at? I like this guy. Shut up for a minute. That's just a joke. Shut up. Shut up. You're mad. You're absolutely insane. Now, you stay there. I'm keeping you with me for another couple of months. We'll see if we can make it work. Now, Danica, you came to the Lord, presumably after... what point in your giddy trajectory of being a NASCAR speed demon, and as far as I can tell, wiry and intimidating woman... When did you turn to the Holy Father and the Heavenly Lord and Jesus Christ, our Savior?
Well, I didn't grow up with a whole lot of religion, but there's always been a very big curiosity within me. So I actually did get confirmed Catholic probably 50 or so years ago. But I think that it's not... Even I probably am more religious than I would even let people know. And I think that's... Well, like just the example of saying I'll pray for someone or doing that on my own, right? Just thinking it in my head or saying prayers at night or in the morning or whatever that practice is. I wouldn't necessarily tell people about it. And so I think that there's probably like a hiddenness to things that are mysterious and things that are unproven and things that are more about feelings and energy. And they're just not, they're not concrete. So they almost seem weird, right? And so I think that even I have been someone that probably doesn't know how much I practice praying and practice being of gratitude and asking for things as well. And, you know, maybe I should more.
I think that's my question, is it more out there than maybe what we see, and especially in the media of what we see?
Well, I'm an example of yes. Right. I think that people have a lot of their own personal practices. But for the most part, people need to see it or hear it to know what to do. So I guess this is where it starts with sharing. And the easiest place to do that is at home and with the people around you. But if you have a microphone, maybe you go ahead and say it.
What's your name again, mate? You can't answer any questions simply, can you? Sam. Ma'am, I think that when it comes to the world, I've increasingly come to think that the function of celebrity is precisely to establish and endorse the principles of false idolatry that befell and befuddled the people of the Old Testament. False gods, unless you're working for the kingdom, I don't know, man. Maybe you're working against it. So I wouldn't be surprised that people don't declare and proclaim the holy name of the Lord, because those institutions are by nature diabolical, Luciferian counterfeits of all that is real. But that don't mean that they're not all going to be saved, or at least some portion or some percentage by his holy grace. We're not involved in choosing. It's all unfolding beautifully. The joy and peace that is your birthright is coming. Is arriving. He has achieved victory. All is well. I want to thank our fantastic guest, Danica Patrick, for a wonderful contribution. Danica's going to ride me, along with her attractive consort, to our hotel now at breakneck speeds. We're going to race against an AI vehicle to prove that human beings will always beat robots, which we consider to be the dark tools of Satan when it comes to a foot race. Sam will be given, as soon as we arrive at the hotel, a full body massage. A full body massage in the lobby.
In silence.
In hushed silence, Sam. And Danica, not a word. What's your wife's name? Heidi. Now, Heidi, I'm beginning to get a sense of what you deal with at home when it comes to Sam. He's a beautiful man. You must see the glory and the light in him that our Father sees. And when we look at one another as Christ sees us, there is nothing but love and glory. Thank you for your time. We'll be back on Monday, not for more of the same, but for more of the different. Until then, if you can, stay free.
And welcome to Stay Free IV with Russell Brand. This week's show is extraordinary, unusual. We're doing the whole thing hooked up to NAD IVs. But that doesn't mean we're not going to bring you important and informative news, as well as people doing potentially offensive impersonations of me. If you're watching this on YouTube, X, or anywhere other than Rumble, download Rumble Premium now, join us and support us there. Before we get into this content with my adored team, Massey, post-production, beloved Jake, the producer, and Luke, who always seems like he's the kind of person that could lead us into any manner of controversial nightmares. Sometimes he posts stuff on X that I frankly do not approve of. Let's have a look at this news story. In my country, the United Kingdom, the Brexit deal, which was a rare example of a referendum going the way that people wanted it to, because I think we're going to be revisiting 2020, aren't we? The way that the wind is blowing at the moment, people are getting pretty ready to accept that the 2020 election of Joe Biden and those 81 million votes is suspicious. Well, the Brexit referendum, whether you agree with Brexit or don't agree with Brexit, it was the will of the people demonstrated through a binary choice referendum. Let's have a look at how Keir Starmer, the globalist WEF stooge, has responded to that. In short, he's walked back Brexit and is experiencing now the ire of the people. Now, I'm a person that believes in sort of a global communication and interconnection, but you can't argue that the continental-wide EU is anything other than a bureaucracy that centralizes power and exploits people. But I say it's so much better in this bit of content. Stay with us wherever you're watching us. Get over to Rumble and watch us there, and let me know in the comments and chat if you think that the Brexit betrayal will bring down Keir Starmer's government. Britain has been betrayed through Brexit. Whether you agree with Brexit or not, the British people voted for it. Tommy Robinson, the epitome of the British spirit, standing in the shadows in waiting, has been released at the very time that the Brexit wound has been reopened by Keir Starmer's betrayal of the democracy that they claim to endorse. Let me put it this way. In the age of reason, what you are offered is this. There is no God, so supreme authority belongs to the majority, and the majority is determined by the ballot box. Well, in a simple binary choice between shall we stay in Europe or leave Europe, the British people voted to leave Europe. That is clearly not what the establishment wanted or intended. So since then, they've been looking for ways to reverse that decision, and in Keir Starmer, they found that way. Keir Starmer has gone back to Europe and negotiated a kind of soft Brexit, where the EU still has extraordinary control over the British economy, British migration, British borders. It is a betrayal of the very democracy that the secularists and globalists claim should replace the authority of God. And yet they cannot even abide by their own principles. I don't know whether it's better to be in the EU or not be in the EU. How would I possibly know that? My sense is that sovereignty should begin with the individual, move on to the family and the community, and from there on in, there should be confederacies and alliances that are always consensual, explicit, transparent, and open. You aren't going to get that through the nation state. You're certainly not going to get it through continent-wide bureaucracies, and you will never get it with the corrupt globalist leaders that are empowered right now. Let's have a look at this story. The UK and the EU have agreed that the Brexit reset, that's what it's been called, the Brexit reset trade deal, as Sir Keir Starmer declares, Britain is back, essentially back in Europe, which no one voted for. Let's have a look at the legacy media's reporting on this story. It's a reset of defence and trade ties. So again, militarism and economics are the false idols that dominate global politics.
It marks a new era in our relationship.
Britain struck a deal with the European Union on Monday that will see the most significant reset of defence and trade ties since Brexit.
Ursula von der Leyen, by any sensible analysis, is a criminal. Certainly, she was engaged in what appears to be criminal or, how do I best describe this without the use of the word allegedly? Just use the word allegedly. Allegedly, she was communicating directly with Albert Bourla, the CEO of Pfizer, during the pandemic period and doing deals for vaccines that were not going through explicit or indeed proper channels. I don't know if that amounts to criminality, but certainly she has had investigations and allegations made that compare unfavourably to the very allegations that meant that Marine Le Pen can no longer run for office in France. The EU continually intervene in European elections. She explicitly said,
"We'll see if things go in a difficult direction." I've spoken about Hungary and Poland. We have tools.
What do they mean by tools to intervene? How can you intervene in democracy? You can't, can you, without it being undemocratic?
It comes after US President Donald Trump's upending of the global order pushed the two sides to move on from their bitter divorce. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer called the agreement a win-win.
It gives us unprecedented access to the EU market, the best of any country outside of the EU or EFTA, all while sticking to the red lines in our manifesto about not rejoining the single market, the customs union, and no return to freedom of movement.
At the heart of the reset is a new defence and security pact. It will let Britain be part of any joint procurement and pave the way for British companies to take part in a $167 billion programme to rearm Europe. Britain said the deal will also cut red tape for food and agricultural producers, making food cheaper, improve energy security, and add about $12 billion to the economy by 2040. A contentious new fishing agreement was signed and a limited youth mobility scheme was outlined, while British visitors will have faster access to the EU by way of airport e-gates.
This is the story of historical and natural partners standing side by side on the global stage.
Remember what I told you earlier about how lawyers have to tell you a story? What you're witnessing there is storytelling. Listen to what she says. This is the story of historic partners. Let's watch that again.
This is the story of historical and natural partners standing side by side on the global stage.
Historical and natural. What does she mean by natural there? Ah, man. Natural means an undeniable power in this context. That's what she means by natural. Extraordinary. And if you want to talk about nature, there's a bleeding channel around Britain. That's pretty natural.
EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen highlighted the importance of finding solutions together as allies. Relations were poisoned by years of post-Brexit arguments, but collaboration between Britain and European powers over Ukraine and Trump has rebuilt trust between the two sides. Monday's agreement was denounced by Brexit campaigner Nigel Farage, whose anti-immigration Reform Party has seen a recent rise in popularity, putting pressure on the Labour government. The deal was also criticised by the opposition Conservative Party, which oversaw the 2016 Brexit vote and spent years negotiating the original divorce deal.
A really interesting divorce, pejorative description. How do you imagine, let me know in the comments and chat, reform's success at the ballot box will be impacted by this agreement and the reneging on ultimately the results of a referendum, and further demonstration that there is no such thing as democracy if what you mean by democracy is the will of the people represented through the ballot box and then elected officials negotiating their will. If that's what you mean by democracy, there is no democracy. What democracy is, as Mike Benz explained to us, is a set of institutions that are controlled by the powerful. Then the function of the media and the incumbent powerful becomes a masquerade. How do we make people believe there is democracy when what there is a kind of feudalism, a new technological feudalism? Here is Andrew Bridgen, who's always been outspoken when it comes to matters of democracy and has been expelled from the Conservative Party as a result of that. Keir Starmer gave away our sovereign fishing rights and made our justice system subservient to the EU in order to be able to sign a treaty giving away control of our armed forces, intelligence services, nuclear deterrent, police services and our defence industry to the EU with the tacit consent of all other party leaders in Parliament. When their planned war comes, it will be von der Leyen who orders conscription of our young people for her army. Never was a nation more betrayed by her leaders. That's an extraordinary appraisal. And given the likelihood of global conflict in the next 5 to 10 years, whatever this event 2030 ends up being, it's likely that having power that goes beyond your national government will be useful. Let's have a look at what George Galloway, who's a left-wing politician, has to say. Dear Farage, you must lead a broad movement in the country against the betrayal of Brexit. Many, including us, will follow. That is probably the most interesting thing to emerge. The possibility that centralised neoliberal government has become so corrupt, so disgustingly corrupt, that there exists in the United Kingdom the possibility of an alliance between what would have once been regarded as the extreme left in the form of George Galloway, who's like a trade unionist, culturally pluralist while Catholic, and people like Nigel Farage, who is a nationalist, conservative, free market economist. These kind of alliances are the only hope for the United Kingdom. But that's only politics. And politics is actually only social managerialism. Beyond that, there have to be ideals. If there is to be a nation, that nation has to have a spirit. And for that nation to have a spirit, it needs spiritual leaders. And those spiritual leaders are yet to emerge. And that is the crisis and the vortex we are falling into as the mass communication age leads not to mass union, but mass, endless bifurcation, dendrite, ever-expanding fractures and new parties. It's a kind of nihilism that's emerging in this space, and that nihilism benefits these organised institutions that span continents and even the globe. Without your participation and cooperation, which is going to mean the putting aside of your tribalism, it's going to mean the putting aside of your primal nature, the subjugation of your own nature. Those of you that sit in that chat objectifying and hating, you are going to have to transcend that, or you will become the slave that they plan for you to become. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and chat? Is there hope? If the left and right unite in the UK, will that provide the might to attack these institutions of corruption? Will they have the power, the discipline, the strength to do it? Let me know. Thank you for joining us today for Russell Brand's Stay Free IV. We're not on YouTube anymore. Click the link in the description. We're even leaving X now. For the rest of the show, we're just going to talk about stuff we enjoy talking about, like Guy Ritchie's Mobland, fantastic new show that Jake's brought to the forefront, I think simply to attack me for my accent, my belief systems, and some of my affiliations during my drama school years. We're also going to be looking at an offensive and hurtful impersonation done by a young man that could actually buy me a bit of time off work, which